Today's topic is one that is imperative, key to transitioning into a sustainable environment and a peaceful world. And that is the synergy of the feminine and masculine energies within ourselves, beginning within ourselves to, God willing, create the dynamics between masculine and feminine, between male and female, whether it's on the inner, on the outer, or regardless of gender, aspects of feminine, aspects of masculine coming together to create a synergistic relationship, one that will strengthen us all and really bring us into balance, harmony, and unity so that we are walking in a way that moves us forward, that elevates all of us, that, regardless of where you stand in terms of what just happened with our election in the United States, it's very clear that the relationship between masculine and feminine is still, in a lot of ways, we've got some really archaic behaviors that, we're getting there. We're getting there, but honestly, calling women derogatory names just because of their gender, which is the case, but just, I heard, this country's not ready for a woman to be a president, but guess what? Other countries have been led by women and they've done a great job. Why are we so far behind? Why are we so stuck in the dominant, patriarchal, masculine, tough guy persona that has to be the leader and the women fall in line? And it's beyond that. I know everybody has their feelings about so many of our issues, right, that are really important or have been, I don't know, they've been raised to elevated to a level of importance for our culture. And it's like we've picked sides. So I've tried not to pick sides and, because I don't want us to be against each other, regardless of how we view things. Right. I think we can agree to disagree on things. We can have healthy disagreements and still want peace and want to be able to work together and to care for each other in very basic ways. But in terms of, I know I'm in Texas and seeing what's been happening in Texas over the last 4 years. And I'll say this is 4 years. I'm just going to go ahead and throw it out there. This is the 4 years while Trump has not been in office. What the Republicans that have been, it's like they've been at work during this time. They have gerrymandered the heck out of our voting districts here so that they're in art. I live in a district that's primarily people of color and primarily Democrat, and it has been gerrymandered to be, the lines got redrawn so that our district has been split into other districts so that there is not a majority minority, and it is now Republican, not Democrat. And that just boggles my mind. I mean, that's one that was, it's oh boy. Okay. So anyway, it did get contested, and it was called the worst case they'd seen of all the gerrymandering and totally illegal and needed to be put back. And it just kept delay and appeal, delay and appeal, delay and appeal until here we are at election time. And it's, the whole thing with the abortion, and regardless of how you sit on that, our Paxton has a lawsuit against the federal government saying that they want government access to all records. And this is not conspiracy theory. This is what actually is happening on the books. The government, our state government, wants to have access to all medical records so that they can police the reproductive medical history of all women in the state, and anybody who's, going after abortion or whatever their cases may be. The government wants to have access to all medical records without having to ask. So it's just like, to me, that's mind boggling. I think it's way, way overstepped. The point is, in the 4 years, all of this has happened within the 4 years. I mean, and in terms of abortion, I know I heard Trump saying it will be given to the states to decide, but the people in the states do not get a vote. The leaders of the state that, well, at least in 13 states that passed trigger laws, once the Supreme Court got stacked, the trigger laws were put into effect at the state legislators without the people having a vote. And in those states, as soon as the Roe v. Wade was overturned, those trigger laws went into effect. The vote does not go to the people. There's no say so. And the majority of the people have said they don't want it. So it's, and now, like, yes, we don't want it. And now the suit is there. And as soon as the Biden administration is out, that I'm sure will be granted, I believe will be granted, that the government will have access to all medical records. And, it is just, it's to me, great overstep, great overreach of rights. So the masculine and feminine dynamic is way out of balance. It's way out of where it should be, in my opinion. And not only that, I mean, just anything where we can laugh off being called names, being thought of as not responsible enough to manage our own lives and our own bodies and our own affairs. It's time for that to change. The Dalai Lama said that, and I'm going to paraphrase here, that it would be the women of the West that would basically save the world, right? And what's really needed in terms of the healing for the planet, the feminine and the masculine, and we're going to get into this more in our meditation because I really want you to feel it inside of yourself. But the feminine is that state of being. It is that state of where we really come to rest inside of ourselves, to replenish, to nourish. When we go into meditation, we're going into that state of being, that conduit that connects with source, that really brings through that sense of nourishment, of replenishment, of that grounded earth wisdom, of that spiritual knowledge. Like all of that comes in that feminine state when we move into our feminine. The masculine is when we're out and moving in the world and doing and acting, right? The feminine is what receives from that spirit, right? Receives the spirit to be that presence in the world. The masculine is what then moves out to penetrate the world. And the thing is, the two are not separate. We think of them as separate from each other, and ideally they are not separate because, you can think of it as like the bark on a tree, or the tree, right? The tree has its roots into the ground. It has its leaves up to the light. It is receiving the nourishment from the sun. It is drinking in the nutrients from the soil. And it's like traveling through the trunk of the tree, right, to nourish the entire tree, right? So there's this whole nourishment process that really strengthens the tree. It's got the outer layers and the bark that protects the tree. So it's like the feminine is that inner part, the masculine is that outer protection. Both are necessary and they work together. So we're going to do a little exercise today where you think of yourself, your feminine, bringing it into the inner and the masculine as the outer, and you move as one, right? So you move as one. The inner knowing, the inner wisdom, the inner connectedness, and the outer layer of the protection that keeps you safe and intact as your beautiful, vibrant, holy, sacred being moves through the world.